ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। हरे कृष्णा। Just before this Mahabharata class, I was giving another class on Srimad Bhagavatam. So the shloka came that Vasudev, he is foreseeing the future at the end of Dwapar Yuga, and Vasudev is seeing the future, and in the future he is seeing that people in Kali Yuga are very, very dull, durmedhams, and they are harshita ayushaha, their age is reduced, and they are also shakti hrasam, weak in their strength. So like this, so many qualities are mentioned. Then he's thinking, what to do for these people? How can these people get benefited? He was thinking like that. And then he composed Vedas. He wrote all the Vedas. And after writing all the Vedas, he was thinking, yeah, this can be understood by intelligent people. What to speak of those who cannot understand Vedas? Those are not so intelligent. Then he composed Mahabharata. So long ago, Vasudeva wrote this Mahabharata, which is a historical story, of course, but which is very, very applicable to all of us because it is very easy to understand and apply in our life. Because it tells the truth in the form of stories. So it has got wonderful stories, right? So all of you like stories?
Yes, Prabhuji.
You
Yes,
like
Prabhuji.
Okay. So that's why Mahabharata is so interesting. So it teaches the spiritual truths in a way which even this ordinary person can also understand. So that's the beauty of Mahabharata. And as part of Mahabharata, there is also Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad Gita is a science, spiritual science, which is given, and it's the essence of Mahabharata actually. Bharatamrita Sarvasvam. It is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, is the essence of Mahabharata. That is understanding. So anyway, so we'll continue with our session today. So before we go ahead, anybody remembers what we did in the last session? Anybody like to recap what we did in the last session?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, last session we had done about how Bhima he goes and fights with Kuvera.
No, the snake.
That was before.
Nahusha.
Let's hear the topic.
Yeah, Arjuna fights with the demons as a gift to Guru Dakshina to Indra.
Okay, what is the name of the demons?
Niyakavachas.
Nivata Kavachas.
Nivata Kavachas.
Prabhuji, and even in last class when the Gandharva, when Duryodhan he thought of coming and insulting the Pandavas, that time he came in Gandharva's place. That time the Gandharvas they took him, and again Bhima and Arjuna they go and fight with them. Then one of the Gandharva will be the friend of Arjuna. So because of seeing his courageous fight, so he will leave them and Indra that time he'll come and he'll sprinkle nectar on all of the
Correct.
Gandharvas who Arjuna had killed.
Yeah. So Chitrasena, his name is. So actually, he was sent by Indra only to crush the pride of Duryodhana. He was thinking very powerful. He's very influential, but in a moment, his pride was crushed, but because he was captured by Gandharvas. Yes, that is the point. See, this also shows that how envious Duryodhana was. Even when Pandavas are in forest suffering, he wants to put something like salt on the wound so that it will burn more. So this is a very wicked mentality. One should not have such kind of mentality. Okay. So, and other 2 points. Nahusha. Who was Nahusha? Anybody remembers?
Prabhuji, he was the snake, python.
Python snake who was cursed.
Prabhuji, was Nahusha.
Yeah, he had sat on the post of Indra for some time, but he was cursed and then he became a
Yes,
snake.
Prabhuji, you told about the story about
Vagatsya.
he told Agastya Maharshi, Sarpa, he wanted to go early.
Became a Sarpa.
But Agastya Maharshi cursed him that you have to become a Sarpa and go to the earth.
Then
Yeah,
afterwards, Yudhishthira, the elder brother, Yudhishthira asked some questions.
Nahusha.
Nahusha asked some questions to Yudhishthira. Then again, later, Yudhishthira in return asked some questions, Prabhuji.
yeah. So one of the important questions asked was,
Characters of Brahmins. What
how
are
do
the
you
characters?
how do you recognize a Brahmana? Yes, and he quoted the qualities of Brahmana. But then he said some other people also have these qualities. How do you recognize who is a Brahmana? But by qualities you have to recognize a Brahmana, not by birth. So qualities are the important. And then Krishna also visited Pandavas, and then Markandeya Rishi also came. And Markandeya Rishi
He
described
narrated his story, Prabhuji. He narrated
Yeah.
that once
Vatavriksha.
once he saw Krishna, that he saw small baby. Inside his small baby there was the whole universe.
correct. So he showed himself to the Supreme Personality, but Markandeya Rishi proved it. That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this way, these are the topics we discussed last time. So now we go ahead to today's topics. Today's topic is also very interesting. I'm sharing it here. Yeah. So Vanaparva is part 4, is long parva actually. A lot of things are there. So today we'll discuss Yaksha Prashna and we'll begin the Ajnatavas. We'll not be able to go into Ajnatavasa. We'll begin the Ajnatavas today. So today 4 topics which we'll discuss today is angry sage Durvasa comes to Pandavas. That is the first topic. Jayadratha kidnaps Draupadi and the lake of death, and incognito, Ajnatavasa. It's 4 points. So first 3 points we'll discuss in detail, is very important. And incognito will just touch on that point. And in the next session we'll discuss incognito in detail. That is a long section. So how they stayed in Ajnatavas, and also their meeting with, again they being exposed. So that will also come in the next session. The whole world comes to know where are Pandavas after the end of Ajnatavas. So we'll begin now. Angry sage Durvasa comes to meet the Pandavas. Actually, Durvasa Muni is a very powerful sage. His name is called Durvasa. Durvasa means one who is very difficult to stay with, because Durvasa Muni is very unpredictable. Generally, we like predictable people, but there are some unpredictable people who you cannot predict what they will do. They may do anything. So Durvasa Muni was known for unpredictability and anger. He'll become very angry and curse anybody. So many people had bad experience with Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni happened to one day come to the palace of Duryodhana. Duryodhana got scared. My God, Durasumuni is coming. What to do? So he employed all his people in serving Durasamuni. So that Durasamuni will not feel any inconvenience. So he arranged people to wash his clothes and keep his room clean and cook for him. And there were 10,000 disciples of Durasamuni. He used to travel with all of them. So that was his whole battalion traveling. So he became very scared. So somehow or the other, he managed to serve all of them. So day and night he was serving. Sometimes Durasamuni will get up in the midnight at 12 o'clock. And 12 o'clock he will say, I'm hungry, get me something. So then they'll make and take it to Durasamuni. And then Durasamuni will say, now I'm not hungry, you take it back. And they feel, we spent so much time cooking, take it back here, take it back. So very unpredictable. So Durasamuni will test people to their limits. So somehow Duryodhana, along with his team of servants, he could please Durasamuni. So Durasamuni, after that stay, became very happy. And he asked Duryodhana, so I'm very happy with you now. Please ask for some boon, benediction. Duryodhana excited. He was thinking, hey, Durasamuni, he's pleased with me. He wants to give some benediction. And he was thinking what to do now. And Duryodhana, as you know, he's wicked. He's always thinking of troubling Pandavas. Now also he thinks of troubling the Pandavas. And he asked for such a boon which will put the Pandavas in more distress. And what was that boon? Yeah, can somebody read this paragraph?
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yeah, who is that? Jitashri, yes. Please read.
Duryodhana replied, O Brahmin, just as you have been my guest, so you become the guest of Yudhishthira in the forest. He is accomplished and well behaved, and he is a great king, the best and eldest of our family. He therefore deserves to receive your blessings. You should go to him when his entire family has finished eating and are preparing to rest. You will then be well received by those pious men.
So he's putting Pandavas in trouble now. He's telling, what is the condition? Go to Pandavas. And he glorifies Pandavas. See, Yudhishthira is very, very great king. He's my dear brother. So you should go and bestow your blessings on him also. Please go. But actually he was wanting to put Pandavas in trouble. And he's putting the condition. What is the condition? You should go to him when his entire family has finished eating and are preparing to rest. Is this the time to go? Any intelligent man will not put such a request because this will put the people in trouble. So this was the request. Actually, in Vedic times, a person who comes uninvited is called as Atithi. Tithi means a particular time. Atithi means without telling a time he comes. Suppose if Jitashri goes to your friend's name, suppose you go to Gayatri's home without any phone call, just you went and they open the door and see, oh yeah, Jitashri has come. And it is time to take rest. It's already night, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. So that is not the right time to go, isn't it? Because it will put the host in trouble. So here, Duryodhana is purposefully sending so that Pandavas will suffer. Now Durasamuni says, okay, you have asked for such a boon, I'll do it. Surely I will go. When Draupadi has eaten, I will go, he says. So he goes to the place of Draupadi and Pandavas. So at that time, what happens is the Pandavas they welcomed the great sage Durvasa. They washed his feet and received him. And Durvasa Muni said that I have come with 10,000 people and we are hungry. We need to eat. We are very hungry. So because of long walking, generally sannyasis at the time used to walk. Nowadays we go by bus and train. We don't feel much hunger because we don't waste our energy. But at that time they used to walk. They feel tired actually. So here, then Yudhishthira Maharaj tells, yes, surely we'll make something. Durasa Muni says it's a custom that we go and take bath in a river and come back. So we'll take bath and come, and by the time we are in something. So Durasa Muni goes with his 10,000 disciples to the bathing place. And here Yudhishthir looks at Draupadi and says, please do something. And Draupadi is wondering, please do something. What can I do? There's nothing. I have eaten already. And our Akshay Patra will produce a lot of food. But when I eat, it stops. So please, it's very difficult to handle this. And Draupadi at that time gets the presence of mind. She is a very intelligent lady. Because she is intelligent, she got the intelligence to pray to Krishna. She immediately thinks of Krishna. Krishna, you are my only refuge. Please do something. And Krishna was there in Dwarka at that time. So he was in Dwarka. So immediately he came to this Kamyaka forest. And he came, and Draupadi felt ecstatic. Krishna, you have come. I was waiting for you. And Draupadi says, see, Durasa Muni has come with 10,000 people and we have to feed them. There's nothing at home. Please do something. Krishna said, yes, we will deal with this matter, but I am hungry. Please feed me something. And Draupadi says, Krishna, there's nothing at home and you are hungry. I have already bigger problem and you are telling you are hungry. So I have eaten already. There's nothing at home. Akshay Patra will not produce anything further. So at that time, let's see what happens. Yes. Can somebody read this? Krishna
Yes,
smiled.
Prabhuji. Krishna smiled. I will do whatever can be done, but I am too hungry. Please feed me first, and after that I shall do whatever is required.
So then what Draupadi says?
That also I'll read, Prabhuji.
Yeah, read.
Ashamed, Draupadi replied, my lord, the vessel given by the sun remains full until I have eaten. I recently took my meal and now it will not give more food.
Yes, I took my meal and nothing is there. I cannot produce anything. So you'll see here in this photo, Draupadi is showing this vessel. At that time, Krishna says, bring that vessel. So Draupadi brings the vessel, and in that vessel, this is no time for joking, said Krishna. Quickly fetch me the vessel and show me. So Draupadi brings the vessel, and then let's see what happens. Can somebody read this paragraph on the right side? Yes, somebody has to unmute and read. Yes, Lakshmi.
Draupadi brought the dish before Krishna and he examined it closely. In one corner he found a particle of rice and vegetables stuck together, and he ate it at once, saying, may Lord Hari, the soul of the universe, be satisfied with this food, and may the Lord of all sacrifices be pleased.
So he takes it and let Lord Hari be pleased, he says. Actually, he's only Hari, but he's teaching us that when we accept some prasad, let Lord Hari be pleased. We are eating for Lord's pleasure, not for our own sense gratification. So that's why we call it as prasad. Prasad means Lord's mercy on us. It's not just some ordinary food. When we eat prasad, it is Lord's mercy on us. So in that consciousness, we should eat. Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Salpa Punya Vadamrajan Vishwasunaiva Jayate Sharira Vidyajal Jodendriyata hai Kal. This body is a network of ignorance, avidyajal, Jodendriyata hai Kal. And the senses lead us to death. Because they engage in sense gratification, we get again and again birth and death. Right? Sharira Vidyajal Jodendriyata hai Kal. Jive Fele Vishya Sagare Taramadhi Jivati. And we are put in the place of sense gratification, Vishya Sagare. A lot of sense objects are there. Taramadhe Jivati, and tongue is the most difficult to control. So among all the senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin, tongue is the most difficult to control because it wants to eat. Right? I hope all of you had this experience sometime or the other. And we want to stop restricting some food, but we end up eating that same food, isn't it? Right? How many of you agree with this point? We want to stop something, but we end up eating that items again and again. Right? Because it's very difficult because tongue is most ferocious. It is said that if somebody has controlled all the senses and has not controlled the tongue, he is still uncontrolled. So the criteria for sense control is tongue control. So we should provide prasadam to the tongue. And Krishna is teaching here that one should accept prasadam with this consciousness. So Krishna accepted that rice and little vegetable and felt fully satisfied. Immediately Krishna's hunger was nullified. Actually, Krishna is never hungry, but he is hungry for devotees' love. And anything devotees offer with love, Krishna accepts it. Patram pushpam palam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahartam ashnami prayatatmanah. So anything which my devotees offer with love, that only I'll accept, he says. And anything which is not offered with love, I will not accept. In 10th canto, Sudama section, Sudama, when he goes to meet Krishna, Sudama offers small piece of, small quantity of chipped rice, poha, and Krishna accepts it with such love and devotion. And there Krishna says, right, even if a person gives me lot of big gifts, bhuri api upahartam, big gifts, if he gives to me, I'll not accept it. I'm not so happy with it. But if my devotee gives even little bit, small quantity, with love, I'll accept it. He says, I'm pleased with that. So Sudama gave little quantity of poha, and yet Draupadi is giving 1 grain of rice and vegetable, and then Krishna is accepting, satisfied. Right? So this is called as love. Can you think of any other examples where Krishna accepted the devotion, a small quantity of devotion? Can you think of any other?
Prabhuji, after the Kurukshetra Yuddha, Gandhari Devi, she cursed Krishna. She told that as the sons, as my sons Duryodhana and the others died because of you, even you will have to leave your maternal body.
Yeah, I am asking you, that's correct what you said, but I am asking you about any pastimes where Krishna accepted the love of his duty. One example is coming here, Rujula Rukmani is telling, when Vidura offered banana peel. Yeah, so Krishna accepted the banana peels. Not even the banana, he accepted banana peels. So that is one pastime. Yes, anybody else?
Prabhuji, when he was a child, he accepted the mango, and in turn, the mango vendor got many riches.
Okay, so small mango, but Krishna gave so much in return. Very correct. Anything from Ramayana?
Shabari.
Dear Shabri Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, Shabari Devi.
Shabari. Right? Joote pher Shabari ke khaye. Right? That one song. Duryodhan ke bhog na khayo. रूप सागवी दुर्गर खायो ऐसे प्रेम पुजारी राधे श्याम श्याम श्याम. So the Lord is so great that he accepts the devotion, prema pujari. So that's the quality of the Lord. He accepted the sheer bare fruits. Yes.
In Tulabhara also Tulsi Dalam, the waiting of the Sachiv.
Correct. Once Rukmini, they were doing Tulabharam, they wanted to donate equal
Yeah.
quantity of gold. And no matter how much quantity of gold they put, still Krishna was heavy. So then somebody gave an idea. You put one Tulsi leaf. And they put the Tulsi leaf immediately. It was up. So that Tulsi represents devotion. Tulsi is Bhakti Devi, full of devotion. Thank you. So, okay. So these are some pastimes. There are many pastimes. So you will see here in this photo, Krishna is eating this, and in small corner here you will see Durasa Muni is taking bath with all his disciples here. And immediately everybody starts feeling full. The stomach was full. So then, yeah, can somebody read this? Yeah, somebody can unmute and read.
Prabhuji, could I read?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji. Krishna then turned to Sahadeva and said, "Go quickly and bring the ascetics here and feed them." The Pandavas looked around fearfully. There was no sign of food, but they had faith that Krishna would not let them down. Sahadeva left for the river to find Durvasa and his disciples.
Yeah, see, Krishna says, no, you go and get those sages here. And there's no food ready. And then Sadhya has to go and call them. This is something very, very difficult thing to do, because you don't see any food ready. Like suppose in a temple, if 1,000 people are coming, and suppose the leader in the temple says, "Oh, go get 1,000 people, food is ready," but you see nothing is ready in kitchen. Right? How do you get faith? But they had faith that Krishna will protect us. So with that faith, he went. And but by the time he went to the river, the sages had all disappeared. Nobody was there. So what happened there? What happened was, when Krishna ate that food, all the sages, they were sitting, they were in water, standing, and they were chanting their mantras. No? They are chanting whatever mantras they do for Sandhya Vandanam. And at that time, they start feeling stomach full, and they are getting dhakar. Everybody was doing that. And Durvasa Muni also, everybody's stomach was full. They were thinking, what's happening? All was full, everybody is full. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, he must have made a feast by now. If you don't go and eat, then he will feel offended. Because we only told him that make some food for us. And he must have cooked, and now we go and will not eat, then he will feel offended. And Vaishnava Aparadh, biggest Aparadh. And he remembers his past incident, what happened. Right? You know, this in the past, Durvasa Muni encountered one great personality called Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj is a great devotee and a great king. He was constantly thinking about Krishna. But Durvasa Muni offended him. What is the offense? Durvasa Muni once came to meet Ambarish Maharaj, like he came to meet Pandavas. Then Ambarish Maharaj welcomed him, and Durvasa said, "I am hungry, I'll take bath and come." And Ambarish Maharaj was fasting, and it is etiquette that one should feed the guest and then one should eat. So Durvasa Muni went, and he purposefully was delaying the coming. And he delayed, and here the Muhurta for Ekadashi breaking, fast breaking time, Parana time was going on. It is getting over. So at that time, he thought, what to do. Then he, with intelligence, he thought, and he said, I'll take some Charanamrit. Charanamrit is like not breaking fast and yet breaking the fast. It's like in between. He took some water, Charanamrit. And Durvasa Muni, he came to know. And he came and he cursed. Actually, he didn't curse, he wanted to kill Ambarish Maharaj. You have eaten food before me, I'll curse you, I will kill you. So he took his hair and put on the ground, and big demon came, and demon wanted to kill Ambarish Maharaj. And Ambarish Maharaj folded his palms, just thought about Lord Vishnu. He didn't even pray for protection, he just thought about Lord Vishnu. And Sudarshan Chakra instantly came there, appeared on the scene, and it killed the demon. And demon was dead, and then Durvasa Muni was shocked. And then my demon is dead, and then Sudarshan started chasing Durvasa. Durvasa started running from pillar to post, here and there. He went to Brahmaloka, then Shivaloka. Nobody could help him. Then he went to Vishnu. Vishnu said, I also cannot help you. And the only way is you should fall at the feet of my devotee. So he came down, begged forgiveness from Ambarish Maharaj, and the offense was forgiven. So in this way, Durvasa Muni remembered that incident. My God, I already offended one Vaishnava, I got so much of trouble. And if I offend another Vaishnava, who are the Pandavas, I don't know what trouble we'll get in. Let's run away from here. So they all ran away. And here Sahadev says, he comes back and he says, they are all gone. And then Draupadi says, thank you, Krishna. You protected us in this time of difficulty. So no matter how much trouble we fall into, we should just remember Krishna. And Krishna is our friend. So he will take us out of that problem. So that's the lesson we can learn from this. So the real intelligent person is who can pray to Krishna in the time of crisis. We can try to solve the problem by your own strength, but if not possible, then finally surrender to Krishna, pray to Krishna. So that is the way we should deal with the problems. So after Durvasa Muni went away, then Arudi was peacefully staying in the forest of Kamyaka. But again, problem comes. What is this problem? This was an unexpected problem. Jayadratha wants to kidnap Draupadi. Jayadratha was a very powerful king. He was the king of Sindhu province, somewhere in western part of India. And he was married to Dushala, who is the sister of the Kauravas. So in that sense, Duryodhana and Jayadratha, the like brother-in-laws. So he was going from Sindhu to Hastinapur to meet Duryodhana. And on the way, they were passing by the place where Pandavas were staying in the forest, Kamyaka forest. And Jayadratha, he was traveling with thousands of chariots. I think like 6,000 chariots and thousands of elephants and thousands of foot soldiers. Whole caravan was passing. Like a king, right? King doesn't go alone. Like when Prime Minister comes, so there's helicopter going, there are so many jeeps going, cars going, security guards going. So it's like that he was going. So then Jayadratha, in the forest, there's a garden, and he sees a beautiful lady plucking flowers from that garden. And Jayadratha gets attracted by that beauty of this lady. And he shamelessly calls his son, "Hey son, go and see who is that lady. She looks so attractive. Ask what is her name." So his son Kotika goes, and then Kotika asks, "What is your name?" Draupadi says, "Actually, I'm alone, no? Just wait for some time, my husband will come." He says, "No, I just want to know your name. The king of Sindhu, Jayadratha, is waiting there." Acha. Then she says, "I'm Draupadi. I'm the wife of 5 Pandavas, the great heroes. So you can wait here for some time." Then immediately he goes and tells Jayadratha, "It's Draupadi. Draupadi. She's already married to 5 husbands. Okay, but I am attracted to her. I want her at any cost." So Jayadratha personally comes and proposes to Draupadi. Such a shameless person. In front of all these people and son only is proposing and wanting to do such a menial act. Actually, Draupadi immediately covers her head. It is the nature of women that they should cover their hair and not show their face to anybody other than the husbands. Like that. She immediately covers and then keeps distance from Jayadratha, knowing his intentions. But Jayadratha was stubborn. He says, "Who are these Pandavas? They are staying in the forest. They're weak. They're powerless. I am the king. I'll make you the queen. Please come. I'll marry you." Like that he proposes. And then Draupadi was a little in anxiety. She was looking here and there. Where are the Pandavas? Where are the Pandavas? Like that. So because women should be protected by the husband. The husbands are not there. And then this person is coming here. She was thinking what to do. And then she was refusing. "Just wait for Pandavas to come. You can meet them. And when they come, you will not be able to run away alive." Like that she threatens also. But finally, Jayadratha doesn't agree. He catches hold of Draupadi, puts on the chariot, and starts running away. Right? See, Jayadratha takes Draupadi and starts running away. And there are so many soldiers behind. And when Jayadratha was running away like this with Draupadi, Dhamya Rishi comes. "Hey, Jayadratha, stop! Stop, others I'll curse you." Like that, because he was a Brahmana, he didn't have physical power. So he was using his words to convince Jayadratha, "Stop, otherwise I'll curse you." Like that. But Jayadratha didn't pay heed to that and he started running away. And Dhamya Rishi also started running behind. And even Draupadi's servant maids, they were also there. They also could not stop and protect Draupadi, and then she was gone. So after some time, the Pandavas who were in the forest at the time, they see some inauspicious omens. They're called nimittas. Inauspicious omens means bad signs in the environment. Like foxes are howling. Right? Sometimes in the night also there will be howling. No? Dogs howl. You heard dogs howling? Like that. That's howling. and sometimes the lizards are doing tick 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 tick. And you'll also hear some sounds in the sky, rattling of the earth. And here, actually, Yudhishthira Maharaj saw that the birds are passing stool and urine and running away. And you understand, hey, some enemies have come into this forest. So that's why he says, okay, we have to immediately go back. There must be some danger for Draupadi. Let's go. Immediately took their chariots and they came to the place where they were staying. And they saw Draupadi is not there, and everybody is crying. What happened? And then the servant maid of Draupadi said, Jayadratha came and kidnapped. Please protect her. He must not have gone very far because he's very near. It just happened a few moments back. So you can easily catch him. Then immediately Yudhishthira says, let's chase him. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, left side Bhima, then Arjuna, and then Nakula Sahadeva behind. The 5 of them in 5 different chariots, they're chasing the Jayadratha. And very soon they could see, because it was easy to find out where they're gone, because so many chariots going, they could find out where they are. So they chased and they came to the place where Jayadratha was there. And then Jayadratha, from a distance, he sees 5 chariots coming. He asks Draupadi, who are they? Can you describe these 5 people who are there? So then Draupadi describes each one of them. It's very interesting to read this section, how she describes. She says, for each of them, she says, so for Yudhishthir, she says, do you see that car upon which there is a staff with 2 celestial drums which are beating there? There you can see a lean man, the color of pure gold, with large eyes and high nose. That is Yudhishthira. He is merciful even to the enemy who seeks shelter. Therefore, put down your weapon and fall at his feet if you wish for your own safety. Surrender to him. He is very merciful. Jayadratha laughs. Ha ha ha. To surrender to him? No cost. He says. And then you see on the right side of Yudhishthira Maharaj, one who has long arms and is tall like a salt tree. Bhima is very tall and strong. Who is biting his lips? Very angry, biting his lips and contracting his eyebrows like this. He's doing. So he's called Vrukodara. Vrika Udara. Vrika means very strong. Udara means stomach. Very strong hunger he has got. Vrukodara. His strength is superhuman and the earth knows him as Bhima. Those who offend him cannot live. He does not forget an enemy but takes revenge. And even then he is not pacified. That is Bhima. Even after taking revenge, he is not pacified. And on the left side of Yudhishthira Maharaj, he who blazes like fire, who is always firm in battle, who never commits a cruel deed, who never relinquishes virtue out of fear and lust or anger, and who can face any enemy, that is my husband Dhananjay. Behind Yudhishthira, you will see 2 twins on golden chariots. Here comes Nakula, who is loved by his brothers as if he were their own life. He is expert swordsman. Nakula is very expert swordsman. And today you will see him cut your armies. Like a person cuts wheat in the field, like that he will cut your armies. And by his side is Sahadev, the youngest and the favorite of the Pandavas. And Sahadev was famous for his knowledge, wisdom. That he says. And that intelligent hero, Sahadev, is so dear to Kunti, would rather enter fire than say anything against religion or morality. And he always follows morality. So when he describes these 5 personalities, Jayadratha, he little becomes scared also by seeing the power of this description of these Pandavas. And then Pandavas, they attack the army and they start shooting so many arrows. Thousands of people, soldiers are dying by the arrows of Arjuna. But the opposite party also, they start fighting and they even shoot Yudhishthira Maharaj's horses, and Yudhishthira Maharaj had to jump to Sahadev's horse. Even Nakula has to jump to some other's chariot like this. So they're fighting very fiercely, and Bhima was also shooting arrows, Arjuna was shooting arrows. And while they're busy fighting with the army, Jayadratha even ran far away. And when Jayadratha, seeing the power of Pandavas, he ran away. So at that time, Yudhishthira Maharaj said, "Hey, stop fighting. Jayadratha has gone there. Catch him first." So Arjuna takes arrows. He puts it on his bow, chants a mantra, and shoots in the top, in the air, 3 arrows. And the 3 arrows go in the air above the trees and far away, 2 kilometers away. And they kill the horses of Jayadratha. See, that is the power of Arjuna.
Prabhuji was exactly 2 kilometers away from there.
Yeah, it's described in Mahabharata that it is almost 2 kilometers away. So far, he shot arrows. And he didn't even see them where they are, but he shot arrows. It went through the treetops and then finally hit. So that's called as, that's the power of mantras. You made it on the object, it goes and hits there. Nowadays, you have that missiles. Sometimes in
Prabhuji, but it wouldn't be Shabda Bedi Ban.
Shabda Vedi is with sound. Even with your eyes closed, you can shoot. Like if some sound you're hearing, tick, 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 tick. Without looking at that object, you can find out the source and then shoot that place. That's called Shabda Vedi. So, very, very powerful weapons were available at that time. Now it is lost actually. So then Jayadratha started jumping from the chariot and running away. And by that time, Bhima and Arjuna came on the chariot and they reached
Prabhuji,
Jayadratha. Yes?
what happened to the powerful divine arrows of Arjuna after Mahabharata?
You are asking what happened to the power of Arjuna after Mahabharata? It was taken away.
No. Divine arrows which he got from Indra.
Yeah, that was again taken back. Right? Tadvai dhanushta ishva sarato hayaste soham rati indrapati vidamananti sarvam kshanena tadabhuta sadisha riktam bhasmam hutam kokaradham yuktamusham. Bhagavatam says that after the Kurukshetra battle, Arjuna became, all his powers were gone. It was not needed. Because Krishna had given power to Arjuna. In fact, everybody Krishna is only giving power. And Arjuna used it, utilized it for that time. And after that, it was again taken. Because it's not needed. After the battle, it is not needed. So Krishna took it back. And Arjuna himself says this, that Krishna has taken all my power now. And there is no need. The service is over. Then Arjuna also prepares himself to go back to spiritual world. And that's what happens. Of course, that is a long story that will come at the end of Mahabharata. We'll discuss it at the end. Now we are discussing the point where he is preparing for the battle. So they catch Jayadratha. But Yudhishthira told, don't kill him because he is your sister's brother, sister's husband, brother-in-law, because they're all cousins.
Prabhuji, Bhima was the one who went and caught him, right?
Bhima and Arjuna both go and catch him. But then Bhima wanted to kill, but Arjuna says, don't kill. So then what Arjuna does, he takes a sharp arrow and catches his head and shaves his head. And it is not a clean shave like me, but what did he, somewhere he cut like this here, little bit portion here, little bit portion here. So he left about 5 portions uncut. That was a big insult for Jayadratha. Somebody is catching you and cutting your hair and you're allowing you to do it. Actually, for a Kshatriya, being insulted is worse than death.
Prabhuji, this thing also Krishna did to Rukmi.
Rukmi, yeah, correct. Rukmi. Because Rukmi was brother of Rukmini. So he felt that if I kill Rukmi, then Rukmini will be pained in the heart. So that's why he just does a haircut. Same thing happened with Ashwathama also. Right. Ashwathama, he murdered the 5 sons of Pandavas at the time. Arjuna again gave a similar punishment. So this is worse than death. Jayadratha felt so insulted, so disgusted. Then Arjuna said, now you accept Yudhishthira as the king, that you are his servant. Jayadratha says, okay. Maybe he was so upset, insulted. But inside he was wanting to take revenge. So then they asked Draupadi what to do with him. So he's already dead. So then they go away. So Jayadratha goes, but he was wanted to take revenge, so he does tapasya. He does severe tapasya, such severe tapasya for Lord Shiva. Then Lord Shiva appears and says, "What do you want?" Jayadratha says, "Give me benediction that I should be able to kill the 5 Pandavas." You know what Shiva says? Impossible.
He refuses.
Impossible. Because he is Nara Narayana. They are under the protection of Narayana, Krishna. Even I cannot kill them. Even if I want to kill them, I cannot kill them. So that is their power. But however, I can give one benediction that you will be able to check the power of Pandavas once in your lifetime. Means when you are fighting, you will be able to check all the Pandavas once in the lifetime, except Arjuna. Arjuna, you cannot do anything because he is a very close associate of Krishna. You cannot do anything with him. But other 4, Yudhishthir, Bhima, Nakula, Sahadeva, you can stop them. Then he says,
Only for one day he can fight with them.
yeah, once he will be able to stop them and prevent them. He cannot kill them, but he can just check their power. So that was
Guruji,
the benediction.
why all devotees for Rakshasas pray to Shiva? There are
Because they know,
like
they
Ravana.
know that because they know that Vishnu will not give their benedictions. There are only 2 alternatives: go to Brahma and Shiva, and Brahma and Shiva they give such benedictions.
Prabhuji, Shiva thinks all the living organisms equal, devatas, rakshasas, and humans. But Vishnu tells that only goodness should be there in the whole universe.
Yeah, no, but what Vishnu thinks, okay, anyway, he's coming to me, why I should make him bad? So even if some demon goes to Vishnu, Vishnu will make him pure and give, and then give pure desires only. That's the power, nature, right? Ichhapidanam nijapada pallavam. So swayam vidatte nijapada pallavam. He'll give his lotus feet. If somebody comes to Krishna in any way, even if a demon comes to Krishna, Krishna will purify him. So that is his quality. So demons don't like this, so that's why they don't go to Vishnu. So and they rather go to others. That is the point actually. And another thing is demigods, devatas very easily fulfill the desire very quickly. You pray and it is done. But they don't think whether it is good for you or not. Like a shopkeeper, when you go and give him 5 rupees, he'll immediately give a chocolate. But if a father, you go and ask your father, I want to eat chocolate. Father says, hey, no. Yesterday you had chocolate, today morning you had chocolate, again you want chocolate now? Already your 3 teeth are broken here. You want another teeth to break? Don't do this. So Krishna is like father. He will do whatever is good for his child. But other devatas, like shopkeepers, you pay something, they'll give. So you do, like they go to Ganesh and say, I'll give 108 nariyals and I'll break nariyals in front of you and you give me pass, make me pass in the exam. So like that, the fruity mentality. So they immediately get. So, but Krishna does not do like that. He will give you what is best for you. He will not give what you want, but he will give what you need. So that is the point. Okay. So in this way, Jayadratha was punished. So here you'll see he was punished by Arjuna, and then Draupadi is saying, "Let him go. He is our slave, and you have shaved your head. That is enough for him." Like that she says. And then Jayadratha is left, and he does tapasya. So in this way, the time was going in the Kamika forest. And on one day, what happened? One Brahmana comes running to the place where Pandavas were there and they say, please help me. My sticks which I was wanting to use for yajna, that has been taken away by a dog. It put the mouth and it is running away. Please, I want those sticks to do my yajna. And Pandavas say, we'll get it immediately. They start chasing the dog. They ran so fast, but the dog was running very fast and they could not catch it. They ran. They feel so tired and they sat down under a tree. They looked like this. Whew. How is it that we are not able to catch this dog? What sins we must have done? We are not able to keep our word to this Brahmana. How will we show our face to this Brahmana? Actually, it is the duty of the Kshatriyas to protect the Brahmanas. And Brahmana should give guidance to the Kshatriyas, because Brahmanas have intelligence and Kshatriyas have physical power. So here they were feeling very bad. Bhima is telling, it's all because of Duryodhana. It's all because of Shakuni. Because of them, we should have killed them out at that time only. Otherwise, we would not be in such a situation where we are not able to help the Brahmanas. He says like that. So then anyway, at that time, Yudhishthira Maharaj says, anyway, we are very tired, everybody is thirsty. Nakula, can you go and get some water? So Nakula climbs on the tree and sees, is there any water? Then he sees that one place, a lot of birds are coming and going. Then he thinks, okay, there must be water. In the forest, this is the way you find out water, by indications in the nature. So then Nakula goes there in that direction, and then he comes to the place where these beautiful trees were there, and in between there is a lake. And in that lake, water was there. So he touches the water and is about to drink, and he says, stop, don't drink this water, you will die. He's wondering where the voice is coming from. Nobody is visible. Then he again touches, he says, stop, don't do this. So then first you answer my questions, then I will, you can drink this water, otherwise you will die. So like this he was threatening. And Nakula says, somebody is saying like this. He ignores it and he drinks the water. And as soon as he drank the water, he fell dead. He was dead. Then a lot of time passed and Nakula has not come back. Yudhishthira says, Sahadev, you also go and check what is happening. And Sahadev goes and he sees Nakula dead, and there is no wounds on his body. And he's wondering what happened. Then he says, first I'll drink water, then we'll fight. You want to touch the water and say, stop, answer my questions. And he's wondering, who is that? But still he drinks the water, he also dies. And after some time, Arjuna was sent. Go and check what is happening with your brothers. And Arjuna comes and sees Nakula and Sahadev dead. Then he takes his bow and arrow and he looks, where is that person who was killed? But there is no sign of any, like when somebody is killed, there should be some scars, some marks, some fighting, some disturbance, or nothing was there. They just fallen as if sleeping. And he sees that the luster of the body is still there. How is it possible like this? No wounds. Then he says, I'll drink water and then we'll fight. And he's about to touch water to drink, and stop, answer my questions. Yes. Otherwise, you'll also die like your brothers. And Arjuna takes his bow and arrows and shoots thousands of arrows. But then the sound laughs, ha ha ha, nothing is going to happen. First answer my question. So, but Arjuna was very thirsty, so he drank water. He also died. Then Bhima came. Then Bhima also, he drank the water. Then he also fell dead. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj personally comes. And then he sees all the 5 people dead. All the 4 people are dead. Then he used to wonder what is happening this. And then he thinks, so let me drink water and then we'll see what's happening. And he's about to touch water and then the sound comes. Stop. First answer my questions. Then you can drink. Otherwise, you will also die like your brothers. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, this is what makes Yudhishthira special from others. Others fall prey to anger and the urges of the senses. But Yudhishthira Maharaj is very controlled. So Yudhishthira Maharaj says, okay, who are you? He says, I'm a Yaksha. I'm not a ghost nor a celestial. I'm just a Yaksha. Answer my questions. And that Yaksha was in the form of a crane. So then Yudhishthira says, okay, ask questions, I'll answer. And the Yaksha starts asking many questions, and Yudhishthira Maharaj gives wonderful answers. And Yaksha says, I'm very happy with you. And then he says, I'll ask you 4 more questions, final questions. Give me answer. Then after that, I'll give you a boon. So then he asked the following question. I want somebody to read this. Okay.
Prabhuji,
Can somebody do it? Yes.
Who in this world is happy?
Yeah, please read the answer also.
He who is neither in debt or exiled, and who lives simply. Workplace is near. Eating simple food is in his own home is happy.
Yeah, 3 points. One has no debt, no loans. And one whose work is nearby. And third thing, one who gets to eat at his home. Simple definitions for a happy person. You'll see on the contrast in the modern age, people take loan. Even for education, there's loan, right? Somebody was telling they were wanting to admit a student in a second standard, and there's an entrance exam for second standard in Prarthana school. The second standard boy has to write entrance exam to get into the school for second standard, and fees is also very high, very high. And nowadays, students also take education loan. While they're studying only, there is loan. What to do? That's the nature, and they're not peaceful because after studies they don't get job. Then how will they repay? And many students are there who have graduated but not yet got job, and they're in anxiety how to pay those loan of 4 lakh, 5 lakhs. And then second point is, so the first point is we should not take loan. There is now house loan, there's car loan, there's education loan, there is so many other loans available. So that will put oneself in misery. Better buy with whatever money you have got. Why we take loan? Because our desires are more than what we need. So that's why we take loan. So one should avoid that. Then you'll be happy. And second point, one who lives simply or like just based on cows and land, and who doesn't have to travel so far. No, like in Bangalore, they travel 2 hours going, 2 hours coming. So horrible it is. So the people get drained out just by traveling. So person whose workplace is very near and who lives very simple, is happy. Third thing, one who can get to eat fresh, hot food every day at home. But nowadays people eat in hotels, different hotels. It's horrible. It's not clean. And people don't have time for eating also. Walking, they'll be eating. Right? I've seen so many people standing and eating on the road. Why? Because they don't have time. They'll just grab something, eat standing, wash hands and go away. Actually, eating should be done sitting, not standing. That is Shudra culture, standing and eating. And nowadays they don't wash hands also. They use some napkin and then gone. That's all. So that's all bad culture. So these 3 formulas are the formula for happiness. No debt, work simple work life, and then one should eat fresh food. The next question. Somebody else would like to read now? You can unmute and read. Yes, please. Okay. Who is that?
Gayatri.
Yes, Gayatri.
What is the most wonderful thing? The most wonderful thing is that although every day innumerable creatures go to the abode of death, still a man thinks he is immortal.
Yeah. Ahani lokani gachanti yama mandiram sheshastha sthitam icchanti kimascharya matah param. This is a verse. Ahani, day by day, lokani gachanti yama mandiram. They are going to the abode of death. Yama mandira means the abode of death. And every day so many people are dying. If you see death rate, daily hundreds of thousands of people are dying. So although seeing that people are dying, he thinks, I will not die. Shesha stavaram icchanti. I will not die. Kimascharya mataparam. This is the most surprising thing, wonderful thing in this world. Right? We think I will never die. I will live eternally. That's how we live. Actually, we all will die. As sure as death. Death will knock. It will come to everybody's home and say, please come now. And we cannot say no. We have to open the door. So that is the power of death, as sure as death. But the problem is people who are living like me and all of you and others, we think we'll never die. No, life is long. Just enjoy. No. So the Shastra is telling we can die at any moment. So prepare for death now. Like when the exam comes, when your school exams comes, you start preparing. You know when the date is. Right? Suppose in March, first week exam will be there. You know, that's why you'll prepare. But death is such an exam, you don't know the date when it will come. But you know the answer. We should remember Krishna at the time of death. So we should prepare for that, writing that answer at the time of death. So that's what we can learn from this. The next question. Yeah, somebody else would like to read?
Sir, may I?
Srivardhan. Srivardhan. Yes.
What are the tidings of this world? The tidings are that in this world, which is like a cauldron, which is the sun as its fire, days and nights as its fuel, and months and seasons as its wooden ladle, all creatures are being cooked by time.
Hare Krishna. Imagine now. There is a cauldron, there is a kadai. Cauldron is kadai. So, and the sun is the fire. Like when you put kadai, you put fire down. And in that you put the oil. Okay. So the sun is the fire which heats the kadai, and the night and days are like the fuel, and months and seasons are its wooden ladle. You fry something in the kadai like this with the ladle, and all creatures are like that bhaji inside that oil getting roasted, cooked by time. So this is the nature of this world. Everybody is suffering. Some anxiety is there, or tension, headache, stomach ache, back pain, this pain, so many problems again and again. Right? So they're all being cooked by time. This is the nature of this world. So nobody will be happy. And Yudhishthira Maharaj speaks this answer. Yaksha is very happy. Then he says one other last question.
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, please.
How can one find? Yes, Prabhuji. How can one find the eternal path of religion?
Yeah. Please read.
Prabhuji, the answer is not visible.
Okay.
The eternal religious path is found only in the heart of great mystics.
Yeah. So where to find dharma? In the heart of the devotees of the Lord. That is dharma. There is the place of dharma. There is a verse which he says. So you can try to repeat after me. Tarko pratishta shrutayo vibhinna. Somebody can unmute and repeat after me.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Pratishta shrutayo vibhinna.
Vibhinna.
Nasa vrishiriyasya matam na bhinnam.
Nasa vrishishyasya matam na bhinnam.
Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam.
Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam.
Mahajano yena gata sapantah.
Mahajano yena gata sapantah.
Yeah, so this is the. See, one cannot understand dharma by tarka. Tarka means debate. We cannot understand the truth by debate because everybody puts his own opinion. There are many munis. They'll put, okay, they'll say my opinion is best, other opinion is best. So we cannot establish truth. Like some say God is existing, some say God is not there. What is true? They can keep on debating eternally, but they cannot establish the truth. So where is the truth? Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gata sapanta. You have to approach the great devotees like Srila Prabhupada. So they can tell the truth because they have seen the truth. They have experience of the truth. They are called Mahajanas. There are 12 Mahajanas. Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumaro Kapilo Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishma Balir Vaiyasaki Vayam. There are 12 Mahajanas. Prahlada, Swayambhu Manu. Manu is the first Mahajana. Narada, Shambhu means Shiva. Kumara, Chatush Kumaras, Kapila Muni, Manu. Actually, Swayambhu is Brahmaji actually, sorry. Manu is Swayambhu Manu. So first Swayambhu is Brahmaji who is born, self-born. Swayambhu means self-born. Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumaro, Kapilo Manu. Prahlada, Janaka, Bhishma. Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, the father of Sita Devi. Bhishma Pitamaha. And then Bali Maharaj. Vaiyasaki, Shukadeva Goswami, and Vayam, Yamaraj. So these are the 12 Mahajanas who are there on this planet. So any confusion in dharma?
What these are the 12?
Mahajanas, great personalities.
Prabhuji, who? I mean, like they were born by their own.
That is Brahmaji. Brahmaji was self-born. He was not born with any mother and father. He was born from Vishnu's body. So that's why he's called Swayam.
Prabhuji, who are the Kumaras?
Kumaras are sons of Brahmaji. They are born from the body of Brahmaji. Kumaras.
Like they include Ashwini Kumaras also?
No, that is different. Chatush Kumaras are different. Chatush Kumaras are four personalities who are young, who look young, but they are the first sons of Brahmaji, who remained brahmachari, who didn't want to get married. They are. And when Kumaras did not want to get married, then Brahmaji became angry, and from that anger came Shiva, Rudra. He was born. So if there is any confusion in dharma, then one has to consult these 12 Mahajanas. One has to study their life. Then we can understand what is dharma. So that's what it means. So hearing these questions, the Yaksha was very happy. And then Yaksha says, please ask for some benediction. So I can make any one of them alive. Please ask which one I should make alive. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj replies. Can somebody read this paragraph?
Yes, Prabhuji. He who sacrifices virtue is himself destroyed, replied Yudhishthira. And he who preserves virtue is in turn preserved by it. I am therefore careful to always observe virtue. For me, great virtue lies in refraining from cruelty. It is superior to all worldly gain. Thus I ask for Nakula. Both Kunti and Madri are the same to me. In myself, Kunti still has one son, but Madri now has none. With a desire to behave equally toward my two mothers, I ask for the life of Nakula.
Yeah, see, Kunti's son I am there, but Madri's sons are not there. One of them, Nakula, let him be alive. So hearing this, this Yaksha says, I'm so happy with you. Let all the sons get up. Let all be restored, he says. So in this way, all the 5 brothers again get revived and they become alive. So, and then he asks, who are you actually? So then he says, actually, I am Yamaraj, your father. You are my son. Yudhishthir, I am Dharmaraya, I am Yamaraj. I came here to test you and you have passed the test. And I am so happy with you. Ask for another benediction. Yudhishthira Maharaj says, actually now 12 years is getting over and Ajñātavasa is about to begin. And we don't know what to do because we are so powerful. Anybody can recognize us. So can you please help us how to remain Ajñāta? Ajñāta means unknown. How to remain unknown for 1 year. So he says, okay, I'll give benediction. Even if you be in the self-same form, even if you walk on this earth, you will not be able, nobody will be able to recognize you. I give this benediction to you, he says. So, and then he says, but still, I'll give one idea. You go to the Virata, kingdom of Virata, and in that place, you can stay. And you can take different roles and be assured nobody will be able to recognize you. So in that way, so they all take different forms and go to the kingdom of Virata. They disguise themselves actually. Right? One person disguises as a, you see Yudhishthira Maharaj is the first one. He disguises as a gambling player, as an entertainer for the king. And Bhima, the tall one, he disguises himself as a cook, Vallabha, Sri Vallabha, he calls his name. And then Draupadi disguises as a servant maid. And Sairindri, her name was. And then Nakula, Sahadeva, they disguise as horse and horse caretakers and cows caretakers. And then who remains? Arjuna. He becomes a Napumsaka or Brahanala. And he becomes a dance teacher. So you will see 2 ladies here. One is Draupadi and another is Arjuna. So in this way, they disguise themselves and they go into the kingdom of Virata, where nobody could recognize who they are. And they stay there for 1 year, and many things happen there. A lot of pastimes happen, especially about we'll discuss next session about the killing of Kichaka, and also the battle which happened between the Virata kingdom and the Kauravas. Because Kauravas get a hint that Pandavas are there, they immediately attack. So how they defended themselves, very thrilling story it is. So we'll discuss next time. Okay. Yes.
Prabhuji, I had one question.
Yes. Can we have
Prabhuji,
the
what
video?
was the
If possible, can you have the videos on now? Just end the session. If possible, can have. Yes, Aniket.
yes, Prabhuji, what was the age of the Pandavas while they were in the battle of Mahabharata?
Maybe 100 years. Yes, I'm guessing because even Krishna was 100 years plus, and they were all of the same age.
Arjuna was also almost Krishna's age.
Yeah. So almost same age. They're all equals.
Prabhuji, I had read in a book that they were 63 years old when the Mahabharata war was there. Arjuna was 63.
Acha, okay. Which book was that?
I don't remember, but it was a book. I remember that.
So Krishna was around 100 years old. That's what is there written. But and Arjuna was also a cousin and similar age. So you can approximately
Also,
say,
Prabhuji, Krishna left his body when he was 136 years old.
yeah.
So, yeah, they were all 100 years, I think.
Yeah, around close to that. Exact figure
Yes.
I also don't know, but maybe approximately around that.
The Pandavas lived more than Krishna because after Krishna died, Yudhishthira was in a dilemma and then they went to the mountain.
Yes. And yeah, Krishna departed from this world, but Krishna never dies. Okay. So Krishna is like sun. He rises and he sets, but he's always existing.
Prabhuji, when Krishna departed from his material body, then Arjuna told that this is the last time I'm catching my Gandhiva bow and I will not have any relation with it.
When Krishna leaves, you're telling?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So when Krishna leaves, then Arjuna's Gandhi also becomes powerless. So and when Yudhishthira Maharaj hears that Krishna has left, the Yudhishthira Maharaj leaves. They'll come at the end of Mahabharata, Mahaprasthaneka Parva, where one by one Yudhishthira Maharaj leaves, then Bhima leaves. With nothing, they just walk. With just plain clothes, they walk to the Himalayas, and one by one they also leave. So it shows that they were such great devotees that they were living only for serving Krishna, not for anything else. Yeah. Can we have the videos on? We see Satvik, we see Suditi, and his sister.
Yes, Prabhuji, my sister.
Good. How many of you are attending this Swayam Prakash Guru sessions? Shloka recitation.
Prabhuji, he is our teacher.
Okay. So Gayatri.
Prabhuji, me also.
Me also, Gauranga Prabhu. Okay. Gayatri also. Okay. Nagaraj also attends. Hare Krishna. It's wonderful. Nice to meet all of you. So, Sri Gayatri. Where is Satvik from?
Bangalore, Vijayanagar.
Vijayanagar. Okay. Nice. Fine. So all of you are very interested, regularly coming, trying to understand these points very nicely. That's good. Mohit is asking a question here. Name of Shuka, please repeat in. What is that? Mohit, can you please explain what is your question? 12 Mahajanas. I'll give the reference number. You can see that. It is in 6th canto. Swayambhu Narada
Prabhuji, what names did Nakula and Sahadeva keep in Ajnatavasa? Because in the ones I've heard they are different, and in the ones I've read they are different. So, what names did they keep?
Yeah. So there is 6:3:20 for Mohit. This is the Srimad Bhagavatam 6:3:20. This is the reference. So these are the, this is the shloka, 12 Mahajanas. And this is the translation. So the names of the Pandavas were Yudhishthira becomes Kanka, and Bhima becomes Vallabha. Then
Arjuna was Brihannala.
Brihannala, and Nakula Sahadeva, one of them is Tantripala, and one more. And then Draupadi becomes Sairindri. So these are the names of the 5 Pandavas.
Thank you,
So,
Prabhuji.
yeah.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
what were the total 5 Pandava sons were called as?
Upapandavas.
I discussed
And
in the
what
second
happened?
section.
Yeah, Prabhuji, but what happened to the sons of Pandavas when they went to exile?
Prabhuji, I think they were left in Panchala with Drupada and his wife, I think.
Maybe. That
Panchala and Abhimanyu was left with Subhadra and all of them.
Actually, the 5 Pandavas plus some Brahmanas, they all went to the forest.
Prabhuji, but they were killed, right?
They were killed after the battle. After the battle of Kurukshetra. On the
Yes,
night,
Prabhuji.
they were killed.
Ashwadhama and Kritva Varma and someone.
Krupacharya.
Yes, Prabhuji. They three did.
Kritavarma and
They killed Drishtadyumna and they killed many more people.
And Draupadi and all also went with them, but Drupada and all went to forest for sannyasa and then left their body.
Nice. Okay. So it's already 8:20. Thank you for being with us in this Mahabharata session. So we'll again meet next week and we'll discuss about Ajnatavasa.
Hare Krishna,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Keep it.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you. Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.